A Hanukkah with Mazel by Joel Edward Stein, illustrated by Alyssa Favori. Misha was a very good artist, but a very poor man. He lived by himself in a tiny cottage outside the village of Grodno. Few people in Grodno had enough money to buy his paintings, so Misha made do with very little. He lived on the few potatoes he grew in his yard and the milk he got from his old cow, Clara. One winter night, when the winds howled and the snow blew around the windows, a little cat wandered into Misha's barn. She made her way up to the stall where Clara was sleeping and curled up beside the old cow for warmth. Clara didn't mind having a visitor. She gave her approval with a low moo. In the morning when Misha came to milk Clara, he saw the cat huddled in the corner of the stall, so weak she could hardly walk. My, what have we here?" Misha said to the cat. "Where did you come from?" The cat looked up at him with her emerald green eyes. She seemed to sense that Misha was a kind man. "You're so thin," Misha said in a soothing voice. "Poor old Clara doesn't have much milk to give, but we can share it." Misha took the cat back to his cottage and gave her a dish of milk. She weakly lapped it up and purred gratefully. "It's a good thing you wandered in here," Misha said. "I don't think you would have survived that cold night outside." The cat curled up on a blanket that Misha laid down near the fireplace. "Now, get some rest. You'll feel better soon," said Misha to the cat. "I think I'll call you Mazel. You're certainly a very lucky cat to have wandered out of the cold and into my barn." In the afternoon, Misha brought Mazel another dish of milk. "My cupboard is almost empty," said Misha, "but tonight is the first night of Hanukkah, and I'm making latkes. We will celebrate together." He went to his pantry where he found 2 potatoes and enough oil to fry the latkes. "I'll grate the potatoes the way my grandmother taught me," Misha said to Mazel. "We'll add a little oil to the pan, a little salt, a little pepper, and we'll have our Hanukkah latkes. And tonight we must light the first Hanukkah candle." On the mantel over the fireplace stood a beautiful silver menorah with figures of 2 bold lions holding the 10 Commandments. "My grandfather made this wonderful menorah," Misha said to Mazel. "I have no money for candles, so I don't know how we will light them. But Hanukkah is a time for hope." Suddenly, Misha had an idea. "I may not have candles," he said to Mazel, "but I am an artist, and an artist has to paint." Misha took a fresh canvas and stood it on the easel. He dabbed his brush in the paint and made a bold stroke on the canvas. As Mazel watched, Misha painted a beautiful large menorah, just like the one that stood on the mantel. Then he painted all the candles, including the shamash. Now we're ready for Hanukkah. At sundown, when it was time to light the first Hanukkah candle, Misha sang the blessing as he painted 1 flame on the shamash and another flame on the first candle. Then he sat down to eat his latkes. He put 1 latke onto Mazel's dish. Mazel gave a meow of approval and licked her whiskers. The next night, when Misha went to the easel to draw the next candle flame, he saw how little paint he had left. "We will have to make these paints last as long as we can, Mazel," he said. By the 4th night of Hanukkah, Misha had run out of yellow paint, so he made a little blue, a little orange, and a little red. And on the 8th night, Misha sang the blessing and used the last drops of paint to make the final flame. The next afternoon, there was a knock at the door. Through the window, Misha could see the horse and wagon of a peddler. He opened the door to greet a small man with a big smile. "Shalom, shalom," the man said cheerfully. "I am Meyer the merchant, and I sell many things. Perhaps I have something that you would like to buy." "I'd love to see what you have," said Misha, "but I have no money to buy your goods." "Well, perhaps you have something I can trade then," suggested Meyer, peeking around the door. Misha smiled. "I am an artist, and an artist has paintings." He led Meyer inside and showed him his paintings. Meyer looked at the scenes from Misha's childhood and paintings of Jewish holidays and weddings. A portrait of a little cat caught his eye. "These are wonderful," said Meyer. They heard a loud meow as the cat scampered toward them, purring loudly. "Goldie, is it really you?" exclaimed Meyer, scooping Mazel into his arms. Goldie? Misha looked from Mazel to Meyer. Yes, I've had her since she was a tiny kitten, said Meyer. A few nights ago when I was asleep, she must have jumped out of the wagon. I've been looking for her. So that means Mazel is Goldie, cried Misha. Meyer looked very confused. Mazel? I found her in my barn one morning, Misha explained. She was very weak, so I took her in and cared for her. She was lucky to find my barn, and I was lucky to find her. Yes, now I see why you named her Mazel, said Meyer. She certainly was lucky. Misha tried to smile. Mazel had become his good friend, but now he realized she would have to go back to her owner. Meyer turned to the paintings. You have quite a collection here, he said. I especially like that wonderful menorah painting on the easel. I know many people who would be interested in buying paintings like these. Would you be interested in selling them to me? Of course, said Misha, and he helped Meyer load the paintings onto the wagon. You know, Meyer said, I'm on the road a lot, and I wonder if you could do me a small favor. Could you take care of Mazel, for me? A broad smile appeared on Misha's face. That's not a favor, he said. That's a gift. Mazel weaved back and forth between Misha and Meyer's legs, purring happily. Meyer climbed up on his wagon, and he waved to Misha and Mazel, and he drove slowly away. I'll be back, he shouted. Happy Hanukkah to both of you. The end.